the Zoloft to get your head right.
Well, what's up, Head Right homies? Welcome to the Zoloft, your Head Right hangout. Hey, I reckon y'all are in a better mood this Monday. You know, Monday, people start out on Monday and it's like, oh man, it's Monday. But I reckon folks are excited. Well, you know, the folks of the more patriotic America persuasion. I can dig it, man. I'm excited for you, man. And I pray in Yeshua's name that folks know what to do with it this time. Yes, right. Know what to do with this blessing that you, amen. Okay, so listen. I know that one of the things that that people are giving over to thinking, and y'all, I'm saying this to encourage. I'm not trying to be trying to go doo-doo in the punch bowl or anything like that. I ain't trying to do that. I'm just saying, hey man, let's be smart. Be smart about this, man. Be smart about it. All right. So listen, you know, when people be, you know, it's like on the spiritual front, on the cultural front, and on the political front, you know, lean on the Lord for the wisdom about what to do with these things. I mean, because like, you know, when I see people invoking the name of God as far as this goes, man, God put Trump there, and you know, and it's like assigning God to this kind of stuff. And it's like, that's all well and good, man. But if you don't know what to do with it, and if you ain't leaning on the Lord for the instructions on what to do with it, we going to end up back where we was. Right. You know, and to say that God is like specifically, it's like only when it comes to our guy. When it comes to our guy, God put him there. Right? God put Trump there. God could have put Biden there. Come on now. Be honest about it. It's like, look. With all the idolatry that I saw concerning Trump, you know, when he was in there the first time, it's like God's probably like, you know what? I don't think y'all are learning what's going on here. I don't think y'all know who the real savior is. It's like y'all are excited like this, like Trump is going to save America, and you guys have basically forsaken me, and you're not doing the right thing with what it is with the blessing that you got. I may have to put another person in there. And people saying God's hand of protection was on Donald Trump, and he's gotten to the White House, and God's hand of protection could have been on. Biden was protected when he took over the White House, stole the White House, under protection of our military and under our law enforcement, took the White House, stole it, right? Why? You know why? Because Trump didn't know what to do with his presidency, and his voters didn't know what to do with it either, and that's why they lost it. By stealing, because they don't really know who the enemy is. They really don't understand that. Democrats are not just a political wing or an opposition political party. Y'all, they're flipping criminals. Yes. Okay? And you actually have to, between Republicans and Democrats, it really is a case of cops and robbers. At the most basic level is what it is. You need to understand that Democrats are freaking robbers. They're criminals. They're not just a political ideology, y'all. They are rebellious against our Constitution. They're rebellious against you. And more importantly, they're rebellious against God. They're flat out criminals. So, but at the same time, God has appointed evil to rule over people who are just like, dude, you guys are missing the point. You're missing it. Okay, y'all, even God gave the devil marching orders. All right, what did Jesus say? Hey, boy, go ahead and do what you're going to do, and do it quickly. He gave the devil himself an assignment. All right. So all that to say, you can have a really evil person in power, and God may have put them there. That includes Joe Biden. All right. So this whole thing about God put Trump in there, and it's like, please be mindful of stuff like that, because that kind of stuff gets us back to where we were. Please. Okay. So, you know, just saying, man, don't let your sentiments and your heart determine what God is doing. The word tells us that our heart is deceptively wicked. All right. So you want to, but we assign we let our sentiments govern these things. And I'm just saying, man, be careful, man. Don't do the same thing that put us back to where we were. All right. And I already see it happen. We're going to talk about it. I already see it happening. But anyway, this is what we're going to try to get to, Head Right homies. I don't want to get y'all in a bad mood or start off like sounding like a cynic, but at the same time, you know, I'm still the funnest cynic, you know. All right, we're gonna talk about therapist suggest group crying, forest bathing for liberals. I guess at least it's some kind of bathing. But for liberals, y'all can shave out of it. The women, the homies, the girl, anyway. But to deal with sense of hopelessness on Trump Inauguration Day. Oh, this is going to be fun. And I mean, I only got a couple of things to say about it. I don't want to spend too much time on these nuts. Trump expected to quickly revive global gag rule on abortion. All right. Watch. CNN slanders Elon Musk, implying he's doing the Nazi salute. Speaking of, things that we're already, I'm telling you that this is a bad thing to start off with, man. And don't get me wrong, bear with me, y'all, because I know people are wanting to correct me already because of but just bear with me. Joe Biden quietly pardons his entire family. Biden pardons Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, J6 committee during final hours in office. We knew that he was going to do that. This came up a little while ago. No surprise there. Legal experts give Fauci, Cheney bad news after Biden's last minute pardons. I don't know if this was going to be news to them. I think they kind of knew the implications of this, but they did it anyway. And I reckon it's one of those things that just keep at the back there. Just be careful of how this is going to play out. U.S. TikTok users flock to Red Note, and we are fortunate. TikTok praises President Trump as app goes down nationwide. Here's his reaction. Okay, so let's back it on up. Therapists suggest group crying, and also really quick on the Instagrams. If you're joining on Instagrams, I'm trying to grow my Instagram game. Maybe Instagram is going to get a flux of people in there because they thought that TikTok was going to be banned, and people are like, we're going to have to go back over to Instagram, right? So I don't know, maybe we'll see a few more people in here. But if you're joining on Instagram, I see Bruce Wiley tuned in, Beth Ellen, Steve Merce, T. Snyder Wine, J. King, 75, and John Reynoldson. All right, hey, right on. I hope I said you guys' names correctly. Thank you for joining on Instagram. My homies on YouTube. Because there's just so many on YouTube. There's too many names to call out. But hey, it's about quantity, not quality. Quality, not quantity. And I'm glad you guys are tuning on the YouTubes. And thank y'all for joining in on bronzeserpentmedia.com. That's where you really want to come to, is on bronzeserpentmedia.com. That's trying to grow my little cyberhood up in there. So, but on YouTube, hey, if you want to hit that like button, it ain't gonna hurt. Maybe we'll glitch out the algorithm or something like that. Hit that subscribe button. My subscribers, they're going down for, I don't know for what a reason. It used to be for like the past 7 years, I was in the 70,000 block, even though they wouldn't let me grow out of it. Now it's dropping down into 60,000s, I reckon, pretty soon, if it hasn't already. And my videos, despite having even that many subscribers, that I've been stuck at, still only gets like a couple hundred views if I'm lucky. So why not hit that like button and hit that subscriber button? Maybe we'll glitch the algorithm or whichever. Okay, so in talking about therapists suggest group crying. I guess you guys can bathe each other in your tears. Just wipe your snot and tears on each other and get cleansed. Forest bathing, I guess, is what they're going to call that. That's an interesting thing for this psychologist to go with. Let's see. Let's read a little bit of this article coming from the New York Post. As President Donald Trump's inauguration approaches, some Americans are dreading the Republicans' return to office. I guess the fact that he's a Republican return to office, I guess the thing that they're really dreading. Mm-hmm. And experiencing increased anxiety, a new report says. This is like a collective consciousness kind of anxiety too. This is like it's a spell. Dang it, these people are under. Look, people can find some bizarre things to be afraid of, and actually sometimes the thing that people are afraid of, it finds them. It's not like you look for something to be afraid of, or just I choose to be afraid of this and that's the way it is. Sometimes it just comes over you. It's like, why am I so afraid of this? What happened that has got me so terrified? I'm talking like it'll freeze you up kind of terror when you're confronted with it, right? It's like you can't act right, It's your survival instinct kicks in and it doesn't let you you got to fight against it that happens, man. It happens. It's like a phobia. A phobia is like an irrational fear or something, an intense fear. You don't behave like you want to behave. It takes over, right? But this is like a mass scale, just this all of a sudden this irrational fear that just grips so many people. That's something else, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's just something totally different. But at any rate, Time Magazine reported Friday about 11 science-backed activities. 11 science-backed activities people can try on Monday to cope with their sense of hopelessness about the incoming administration. Psychology experts. Remember, y'all, psychology, when you say when you talk about psychosis, when you talk about, use this word, this is coming from the Greek, and it doesn't even really refer, it's deeper than referring to your mental state, your mentality, or your mind. It really goes down to the soul, okay? Psychology would really, in its essence, mean the study of the soul. It ain't a good idea to study the soul without the Word of God, okay? But you got these people who are out there tinkering around with people's soul, acting like it's just science, and y'all, it is. It really is science, but they leave the real science out of it. God is the all science. He's the omniscient, which means the all science. He knows everything. Science meaning knowledge. He knows it all. Why would you leave the omniscience out of your so-called science? Especially when it comes to the one who fashioned our soul in the study of the soul. You cannot measure the soul. You can't rate it. Okay, you can't weigh it or anything like that. You can't do anything with the soul with a natural process. You're going to need the manual. You're going to need the Word of God in order to examine the soul, which these people don't do. And that's why you got so many psychologists, psychologists, and psychologists, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, whatever you want to call them, in the scope of their field, whether it just be counseling or whether it be medication, right? So you're going to have these people tinkering around with people's soul, thinking that it's prestigious and stuff like that. People think that they're really getting therapy from these people when you're not. You're poisoning your soul because you are leaving out the creator, the love of our soul, man. The lover of our soul, the one who loves us, man. You're going to leave that out. You're going to leave out the manual. Okay, that's not a good idea. And so with that, y'all, one of the first things that in the headline, right in the headline, that these people, let's see, hold up. But actually, let me read a little bit more. Emmanuel, what's her name? Emiliana? Simon Thomas, a psychology expert. Emilia, all right, Emiliana. A psychology expert and science director at the University of California's Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center recommended exercising, doing a creative activity, showing an act of kindness, smiling at strangers, and going to see a performance. Any kind of performance. Right. These activities can boost your mood, help you regain a sense of control, and feel connected. Let me see, where does it say? Well, it jumps here. Feel connected to others. Okay, mine seems to jump to connect. Oh, there it is. Okay, others. She said, working out can wrest back a sense of power. Rest, and I guess rest is spelled W-R-E-S-T. Right? Wrestle back. I don't know. Of power that you might feel is missing. That's what we want to feel. We want to feel empowered, right? Yeah, you're empowered. Okay. That's missing on Inauguration Day. The report said you might not be able to do anything about the new administration policies, but you know what you can do. 15 perfect form jumping jacks. Yes, take control, I could appreciate that. Take control. Do something that just focuses on anything except the Lord. That's what it's all about, y'all. None of these suggestions implicate, hey, you know what? Why don't you give the Lord a try? Yep. Focus on anything else except the true, it's peace that you're looking for, right? You can't facilitate that. Nothing that you're going to do is going to be a facilitator of peace. You have to have the foundation for peace. And now, don't get me wrong. It's not that any of those things are bad. You know, doing jumping jacks ain't bad. Doing nice things for others ain't bad. You know, you got to determine what that is. You got to have a standard for what that is. What do you consider doing something nice for somebody?
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of people out there thinking that it's nice to take your kid to story time, to drag story time. That's a nice thing to do for that's a nice thing to do for your kids. No, it ain't. But some people may think it is. You got to be pretty specific about what doing something nice means. All right. It's just like the Lord says, man, what you think I'm a nice guy? What you calling me good for? What do you attribute to being good? What do you qualify as good? Where do you even get that from? You know, because ain't nobody good except my daddy. Meaning that it's like, because, you know, the word of God does describe people as blameless, righteous, you know, and stuff like that. So it's like, how is Jesus going to sit there and say that, well, there's nobody good except my dad?
Yeah. Right?
When the Lord himself, you know, it's like looking at people and say, yeah, hey, Noah, blameless. Right? Well, the thing is that goodness starts with the Lord. Whatever character that they have that we would see as good, it is because they are doing that in accordance to God. They are following his statutes. That's where it starts. All right. So any good that you may see in me, I want to know what you base that on. Where you getting that from? Then let's talk about what's good. All right. So, but these people, what are you basing your sense of goodness on? These things, these exercises that you're telling people to do. What do you base that goodness on? It ain't going to help. It's going to leave a void in these people. I promise you. And you got a lot of people out there who are hardwired into pursuing what they think is good in life or what is actually living. And they will be a liability to other people and lie to themselves the whole time while they're just feeling empty and addicted to this idea that they themselves have some sort of, I don't know, power over their lives and can achieve this state of well-being and peace while basically they're being torn apart inside by demons.
Yeah.
I've been there. I know people. I've known people like this all my life. All right. Chances are you've known them too. Chances are you might have been that person as well. Right. I don't think I'm speaking to anybody where this is a stranger to, man. We know. Yep. We know. Right. And we come to the Lord, man. We didn't found that food. We didn't found that drink, man. It's like, man, we ain't hungry no more. We know what our drink is. Yeah. All right, so we don't be like, get a drink of this and be like, oh, I need a drink for, I got to go to the flipping fountain and just get a whole bunch of, make me a suicide cocktail. That's what we used to call it back then. When you mix a whole bunch of drinks, you call it suicide. I don't know why they call it suicide.
Oh my goodness.
Right, maybe it's because of overload on sugar or whichever,
Probably
right?
Is.
You know, but here's the thing, y'all. See, when we're talking about forest bathing. This is the one thing I really want to zero in on, forest bathing. These psychologists, these studiers of the soul, who do not use a manual, the manual, to examine the soul, who are just really being irresponsible with what it is to study the soul. They're telling these people to do what is called forest bathing. Had they studied the word of God, which I don't know, maybe they don't care, man. It doesn't mean anything to them. I get it. But for anybody out there who thinks that this might be a good idea, one of the names of the devil, Satan, one of the names for Satan in the Bible is Belial. Beliar, I think it's Belial. And what the name means, Belial, it means Lord of the Forest. That's what it means. That's one of the names of Satan, the Lord of the Forest. And it also, included in its meaning, it also means worthless. Okay? Help me. You know what? Matter of fact, let me double check. I've been in kind of hurry today, and I just think I remember this from previous studies, as you know, as when we do the Zopium Den, and we've talked about this before. It's just been a while, and I haven't used that name in a long time. But when I saw that, it brought that to mind, and I wanted to go ahead and touch on it. Let's see. All right, let's go to. Hopefully, it'll come up for me really fast. Let's look in, how about maybe 2 Corinthians 6:15? 2 Corinthians 6:15, and I think it does have the name Belial in there. I think I'm using that. I think I'm saying that name right. Yes, yeah, because it's Belial, but it's also pronounced Belier, and yeah. So it's another one of Satan's names, and let's see, there we go. Let's see. So when we talk about, okay, so there's Belial, evil, naughty, naughty, worthless. Okay, worthless. And so when we're talking about this Lord of the forest, y'all, these ideas that they're giving to people, y'all, it's worthless. Okay, this is a worthless thing for them to do. It's not going to help them. It's going to make their condition worse. All right, I want to double check something else really quick. And you guys see it, man. You guys see these people like going off on these new age things. You know, just trying to giving over to anything, whether it's new age, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, just giving over to things, that they think is going to find, that's going to fulfill them somehow. And it just doesn't do it, So, but when you go into these things, man, and you find, you look into the meaning of it, this person is telling them to go into the forest and bathe. And like I said, one of the names of the devil means Lord of the forest. What happens when people go into, they get enchanted by the forest, don't they? They think that the forest is like some sort of spiritual exercise, a spiritual environment. The forest is someplace, how you can't see the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
right? You get blind in there, you get lost in there, you get lost in the forest. Forest is known for people to get lost in. The forest is known for a place to be haunted. Right? But there's this enchantment that goes in with the forest. And that's what this person is telling these people to get lost in. They want them to get bathed in there. Right? So basically you want the forest to be their place of ablution into the unholy. Right? So these things, man, it's like, it's unfortunate that people are so, and this has always been, man, this has been for like thousands of years. This ain't nothing new. It's just, as I keep saying, it's just, we should know better by now. You just should know better. And these people look at us like we're a bunch of primitives who cling on to old ideas. It's like, no, that's y'all. You do this. Forest bathing? Yeah, that's primitive. That's stuff that's been going on for thousands of years, man. You're talking about us. But the thing is that these are the people with the prestige of having this academic career. They've gone to college and they've got their doctorates. Yes, they're experts. You've got experts, right? These advanced people, progressive people, telling you to do something primitive. Think about it. And that's what a lot of this stuff has always been, man. Why you have these so-called intellectuals, the more these intellectual these people seem, is more of them giving over to trying to justify doing primitive stuff. Getting into your more primitive nature to make you feel like you're really living, to make you really feel like you're achieving something. It's kind of the irony, y'all, is I think the irony is lost on these people. So yeah, there you go. Let's see what else we got.
Jay was talking about, he says, I beg to differ. I find that these people aren't looking for something to fill the void, but they're doing everything they can to keep the void from being filled. It's like they want to be a vessel for something else, something diabolic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is that would still be the void filled with something. That's true. But I feel you though, because
it does seem like it. Because
here's the thing, to your point, a lot of people, their identity is in emptiness. Come on now, you know what I'm saying?
I work with a few very cynical people who that is their identity.
Matter of fact, to your point, and I agree with you. They're still trying to fill the emptiness with something, but at the same time, the emptiness is like, take the Goths. You know, when you want to get this whole, the Gothics, the nihilists and stuff like that, it's empty. Right? It's empty. Heck, man, there's even a hit song. I think Linkin Park is making their big comeback with their song, The Emptiness Machine. They make money off of emptiness.
Yes.
Right? But these people are still trying to fill that void with something. You know? And as the saying goes, man, it's a God-shaped void, man. Only God can fill it. But there's people, man, that's their identity, though. And their emptiness is a special, it's a unique kind of emptiness. It's distinctive to them. That's one of the reasons why they cling on to it so hard. You know, they have this, whatever this plight that they have in their life, or this emptiness, or something that, a grievance that they have. Their grievance is unique to them. And that, since it's unique to them, it in a way makes them special. And they always want you to know about this shortcoming in their life, or that was imposed on them somehow. And a lot of times, y'all, they facilitate it. You know, and you can't get them to understand. It's like, dude, you know you're doing this to yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, they ain't trying to hear it. Why would I do this to myself? And they'll just go on with it. You know? But it's like, you've never heard of a person abusing themselves? Yeah, people abuse themselves all the time.
Oh, yes.
You know, and you can't get them to understand. It's like, you know you're doing this to yourself, right? And you try to tell them that, they will freak out on you.
Yeah.
You know? Because don't tell them anything that would make them where they might have to give up what it is that they're doing. That makes them so unique and special with their struggle. Their struggle makes them unique. Their struggle makes them special. Right? Can't take that away from them. You know what I'm saying? So now I digress, because somehow these people have gravitated to this paranoia that they have. You know, where this mass hysteria about, you know, Republicans and Trump, you know, but, you know, hey, I don't know. I guess there's exceptions to every rule, but it's like I said, but at the same time, it's kind of natural for people to have a struggle, and they'll cling on to the struggle because it's unique to them. They think that their struggle is unique. You can have thousands of people, you know, who could be going through the same thing, but they think theirs is unique and special to them, right? And it makes them unique and special to other people, right? So, you know, with this, like I said, that's natural for people. This is something else where it's just like, all of a sudden, all y'all have this same kind of phobia. Like I said, man, we're talking about the study of the soul, right? It's demonic. It's straight up demonic. It's what these people are dealing with. All right. So anyway.
Jay said that the Shinrin Yoku is Japanese for forest bathing. And I remember reading an article on forest bathing a couple years ago, and the term is from Japan, and the thought of just getting out of the city and getting into some nature, even if it's a park in the city. I think Gen Z calls it touching grass. Us normies call it hiking, going for a walk.
Yeah.
And then the liberals call it forest bathing now.
Right. So now, and thank you for helping me brush up on my Japanese. No, Japanese writing is kanji. I forget what the Japanese language is actually called. But yeah, thank you. And now in Japan, you know, and this is, a lot of it is attached to their sense of spirituality. So this is still in Japan, I think, in terms of spirituality, is I think the prominent religion for that is Shintoism. And you know, they've got different philosophical religions, you know, like, you know, with Zen Buddhism and things like that. But Shintoism is you know, a widely practiced spiritual approach in Japan. And so you can't take that out of it. And if they're talking about forest bathing, once again, in Japan is not very receptive, I think, to this day, to Christianity. So you know, there's spots, but it's still, you know, a lot of emptiness.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't have more missionaries over the past few decades to Japan.
You know, I don't know. Might not be as who knows, man. In terms of like the welcoming of it, I don't know. But like, you know, like I said, when we're talking about emptiness, man, there's a lot of that. Japan they have coffee bars, man, where you go in and they'll have like a teddy bear or something like that waiting for you that you can have coffee with or whichever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, or you can have like a teddy bear drinking under the table while y'all are, you know, toasting with some sake or whichever. But it's a sad thing. It's a very a lot of loneliness.
There's a lot of loneliness
Yeah.
there. And their birth rate, I think, it's a lot worse than ours as far as they're not replacing themselves. It's a very sad nation.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, our prayers to those people that they receive, you know, the Lord's peace and truth. Let's see, what else we got here?
Well, Bruce says, while you're looking for the next article, there are some houses of prayer in Japan. That's good to know.
Yeah, that's you know, praise be to God for that, and hopefully it'll get, you know, more contagious, man, and people will gravitate onto that.
And finally, watching trains go by says, I've been to the woods and there's no way I'm bathing with mosquitoes there waiting for fresh meat. I agree.
Word, man. So, you know, nature's. Sometimes I want to say nature is overrated.
Yeah, when there's spiders and mosquitoes out there, and we're going for a walk, and I'm like,
And they just don't want to leave you the crap alone,
Yes.
you know? And yeah, it's like, dang. You just got to be prepared for stuff like that. Just know that you can't, you know, it's not a good idea to go out there without some insect repellent. It's like give and take. If you want to enjoy the summertime, the spring and summer of nature, the forest and stuff like that, you just got to be prepared, you know, because them critters out there, they like spring and summer too.
Yep.
So they are going to definitely, you know, come and mess with your outing. But then there's fall, you know, later fall and winter when it, you know, gets cold and they don't want to come out and bother you and say, hey, it's great. You get the bonfire going and chill. You ain't got to worry about them bothering you and stuff like that. The problem is that it's really cold. So it trade one thing for the other, but that's nature. It's just the way it's going to be. Let's see, what do we got here? President Trump pardons all J6 hostages, orders immediate release from prison. All right, man, that's what I'm talking about. And man, I hope some recompense is in order. You know, hey, I mean, I reckon to breathe, you know, free fresh air, man, is relief in itself.
yeah.
You know, but these people were done super dirty. And you know, and I talk a lot about you know, how, you know, the Trump administration, you know, sabotages themselves, and not just the Trump administration, but a lot of their voters. Man, you don't know how many, I see it too often, man, when you talk about Republican, you know, voters, you know, that see Lincoln as this tyrant who suspended habeas corpus. And I hear more Republicans talk about that than I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, I've not seen one. I've not seen one commentator. I haven't seen a comment charging Biden with suspending habeas corpus.
Nope.
Not one. I'm the only one, y'all. I'm the only one who has called it what it is. But unfortunately, I've seen more Republicans accuse Lincoln of his unjustified action of suspending habeas corpus. And I'm like, wow. And Republicans wonder why people think the parties have switched sides.
Yeah.
And wonder why the Democrats were able to steal the White House. And I'm trying to tell you, it's like a lot of these Republicans, they don't know who the enemy is, man. And they just don't know what to do with it. You know, Lincoln did what was constitutionally correct in suspending habeas corpus. It tells you the criteria of suspending habeas corpus when it applies to those participating in rebellion. Okay? Yes, you can suspend a writ of habeas corpus when for those who are partaking in rebellion. The Democrats who founded the Confederacy were partaking in rebellion. They even called their flag that I don't know, these sympathizing Confederates who are in the Republican Party, waving the Confederate flag around at the J6 event, you know, waving it around. It's like, dude, you're waving around the flag of the Democrat Party. What are you doing that for? When the Democrats themselves refer to it as a rebel flag. And they were, and under that rebel flag, they were in allegiance to the Constitution of the Confederate States, waging war against the Constitution of the United States. They were in admitted rebellion against the Constitution of the United States. So Lincoln suspending of a writ of habeas corpus against these Confederates was legit. But no, Lincoln is the one who did it wrong, and they have never, to this day, ain't nobody that I know of has ever said Biden has suspended a writ of habeas corpus to these people. But whatever, so at any rate, y'all, that has been done, and I think they need to be compensated for that. I hope they do. They lost the talk between money affecting their families. Some have committed suicide in there. Hey, payback. And I'm not talking about vengeance. I'm talking about justice.
Right.
It needs to be. I hope that turns out. Somebody gotta.
Yeah, Bruce Stuckey says Times reporters called out Biden for suspending habeas corpus 0 times.
0 times. I was gonna be shocked. I said, what? They did it? Okay. Well,
Right.
hey, let me go ahead and just eat my words then. But no, I don't
Nobody
know,
on the right or the left or in the middle has ever called Joe Biden out on that.
Nobody.
And I think that's a pretty big deal.
All right. What else we got? But praise, hey man, if there's something to be, and don't get me wrong, man, I'm glad that Biden's out, Trump is back in. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's going to do Trump any favors by just like say, okay, everything's good. It's like, look, man, let's not make the same mistakes. Let's not make the same mistakes, man. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, praise be to God, man. I'm glad they're out.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're going to be getting out.
And pray for recompense for these people who had their lives destroyed.
Yeah. Here's to the Lord's restoration, man. Here it comes. Trump expected to quickly revive global gag rule on abortion. Let's read a little bit of this, y'all. Come on, page. Open up. You're making me look slow. I don't need to look slower. President-elect Trump is expected to reinstate controversial policy soon after taking office that would further bar foreign non-governmental, dang it, quit ads, leave me alone, organizations that perform, counsel or provide information on abortions abroad from receiving U.S. funding. Okay, so you guys get the gist of it. And we've said this, I think, we've said this, us and y'all included. I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, you've agreed with it, or you've probably said it yourself. Let me say first off, I'm against abortion altogether. Okay, it is totally a violation of a person's God-given right to live. You cannot just deprive a person of their life without due process of law. This person is a creation of God. That's in our Constitution. Before the left even tries to invoke the Constitution, which they'll pervert the Constitution the way they want to, but they try to invoke it to justify whatever it is they want. But the thing is, when we talk about the Constitution, we talk about what it protects concerning the Declaration of Independence. Okay, that's going to state that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and we are created equal. Well, there's only one thing that makes us equal, y'all. There's only one thing. It doesn't say born equal. It says created equal. There's a big difference. We're not all born equal. All right, you're born in different circumstances. You're born in different classes. Some people may even be born in a traditional way. Some people may be born by cesarean or C-section. People are born different. You're born having different attributes, and things like that. But creation, no, we're all created the same way, and that's where your rights start. Your rights don't just start when you're born. Your rights start when you're created. That's what we all share in common, y'all. Every one of us, by the Lord's design, is created by the marriage of the male seed to the female egg. That is the only thing that makes us, that is the basis of our equality. We're all conceived the same way. All right. Some people, and don't get me wrong, some people there may be artificial insemination, and things like that. I got a surrogacy and all, and whichever. Doesn't matter. You ain't doing it without the marriage of the male seed to the female egg. Okay? That's how we all get here. That's what we all have in common. That is what makes us all equal. All right? So, when you have people out there, trying to suggest that the child in the womb is like fair game or anything like that. It's like, no, dude, it's not fair game. It's still a person. It's still a human creation. Okay, you can't take their rights away. All that to say, y'all, that's what I want to establish first. Now, second to that, I think we all agree that, look, if you're gonna, while we're trying to make abortion federally illegal, period, while we're trying to do that, steps that we can make is, okay, you know what? If you're gonna do this while it's legal, while we're working on making it illegal, you can't be making other people pay for this. So I'm with this. It's like, I get it, man. Because like I said, man, the whole turning over of Roe v. Wade, that wasn't really a victory. It wasn't really a victory to overturn Roe v. Wade, because the language of it was wrong. Trump was wrong in his approach to it. Unless he's trying to make steps, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he was trying to make steps. But if you're going to make this thing about we're going to overturn Roe v. Wade, but we're going to put it back to the states where it belongs. Wrong language. Wrong. It doesn't work that way. Okay? It doesn't work that way. Donald, listen. You cannot, once again, y'all, and forgive me if y'all have heard this 1,000 times. I keep saying, because, well, people keep doing it and people keep going along with this idea. And, unfortunately, nobody really hears me when I'm trying to talk about it. And thank you guys for tuning in on Instagram. ML Ellen, Peter Brown, Heather Lee, Joy Like a Fountain, Quoted Dan, JM Pope, Bruce Willie. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you guys have been tuning in before that, thank you guys so much for still tuning in. And y'all on YouTube's and on the bronzeserpentmedia.com. You got to, if these people, man, if you want to make the choice, if it's all about pro-choice, all right, you're pro-choice, you value being pro-choice so much. What was that I talked about that I was saying? Oh yeah, 1,000 times, man. Listen, you can't tell a state, oh yeah, do whatever you want. You can't do that, man. You can't tell a state that it's okay for you to adjudicate or vote away somebody's God-given rights. It doesn't work that way. That's what makes us the United States. Like, this is what we're going to agree on. These rights are granted by God and you can't mess with it. You can experiment with stuff in your state, but you can't do it at the forced expense of somebody else, depriving them of their life, their liberty, or their property, or their pursuit of happiness. You can't do that. You want to experiment with other models and stuff like that, sure, but this you cannot touch. So for Donald Trump to be like, yeah, you can go ahead if you decide in your state that you want to have abortions, then that's okay. No, you can't do that. No court in any state can be like, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and have a hearing on this on whether we can kill people or not. You can't do that. Right. All right. Hey, Trump might as well just say, hey, you know what? Slavery, that should be something that's decided in the states. Would you be okay with that, Donald? Would you be okay if a state, they went ahead and vote, and if their vote turned out and said, heck yeah, we want slavery, and they went ahead and do it, would that be okay with you? It's the same thing when it comes to abortion. It's not something you have a court hearing over. It's not something that you have a voting event over. You can't mess with it. It is a God-given right. It is certain and inalienable. You understand? So the language is already wrong. And then from there, it's like, okay, do you understand the spiritual implications of this? Yeah, under your administration, Roe v. Wade was overturned. Basically, you did what was right in the Lord's sight, but you left the high places, which displeases the Lord. You left it to the states to decide that they were going to be child sacrifice states. Yeah. You left the high places. That's all that happened. You know what I'm saying? So this right here is is the beginning of a smarter approach. It's like, look, man, while we're working on making this illegal, we're gonna stop you if you're gonna be so pro-choice If you really value what it is to be pro-choice, then you should value enough what it is to pay for it for yourself. You value it, you pay for it. If you see, and you have those out there, and forgive me all, because if you're libertarian, I know the libertarians that they don't like it when you call them out on certain things, but you got a lot of libertarians who are pro-choice, live and let live, if you will, right? Freedom as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else and all that sort of stuff. Do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. When you have an abortion, that is not live and let live. There is a party that is going to die in that equation. Okay, so it's not live and let live. Do what you want, but don't hurt anybody else. I guarantee you that baby is going to get hurt. All right. Yep. So, but a lot of times libertarians think that we can do these things, but as long as you assume the responsibility for it, you're going to do something, you have to assume responsibility for it. Don't make other people pay for it. Y'all, it don't work that way. That's la la land, man. That's fiction. Nobody who feels, okay, there's always exceptions. Most people, and it's going to be enough of a most where it's going to be a liability to the rest of civilization. If a person feels like they have the right to kill an unborn child, I promise you, chances are really, 99% of these people, 99% of these people are also going to feel like they have the right to make somebody else pay for it. You understand? That's that entitlement mindset. If you feel entitled enough to where you can deprive another human being of their right to live, you will feel entitled to somebody else paying for it. And that's what we're trying to stop right here. Say, no. You want to be pro-choice? You want to kill that kid? You do that on your own dime. Do not involve us in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of it. All right? But the word of God, y'all, the word of God says this, though. The word of God says this. If you know that a priest, basically a priest of Baal or Chemosh or Moloch, right? If you know that this person is sacrificing children, if you know that they're doing that and you turn away from it, the Lord says, I want that priest put to death. I want that priest put to death anyway. But you know what? I want everybody who turned their back to the situation to be put to death too. That's what the Lord says. So what basically, according to the word of God, we're liable. We're liable if we let this go on. We need to be speaking up and say, no, man, this is no. Let anybody in here, let it be heard, let it be declared. We declaring it here, right here in the Zoloft, man. No, we're not with this. And Lord, we're trying to do what we can, without causing an all-out war if we can. As the word says, make peace where it's possible. We're trying to do this as peaceably as we can and let them know that we disagree. We disagree with this. We're trying to make it illegal. All right, but that's what the word of God says, man. It's like, look, man, if you're gonna be soft about this and you're just gonna be like, hey, it's their business and I ain't got nothing to say about it. No, man, let your voice be heard. Say, no, man, we're not with this. If we're gonna make it as hard as we can for you, without basically, trying to have a war, But a war of abolition did happen. It did happen. Because they weren't listening, but we tried, they tried, y'all. We tried to get it going, but sometimes evil has just been dug in so deep. By the time people get around to actually doing something about it, it turns into a war. We try, man, to keep that from happening. So at any rate, y'all, that's I'm with this. Sometimes it's baby steps, man. It's baby steps, and but hey, you guys want to do this? You say it's your business, okay. It's your business. Your business. You pay for it. Yeah. Don't make somebody else pay for it.
Quit making the taxpayer pay for it, not only here, everywhere overseas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, dang. Leave us out of it. Mm-hmm. Y'all are talking about it's my business. Okay, well, it's your business. But like I said, we don't want to use that as an excuse to we don't want to turn a blind eye to it, y'all.
Right.
Still be conscious of it, still do what we can to make it illegal, because like I said, the Lord will be very displeased. I'm talking about capital offense displeased. If we just treat it like, well, they want to kill their babies,
Yeah, support your local crisis pregnancy center any way you can. Any way you can, even if it's only time you can give them.
And let it be known in the culture, man. It's like, little things, to send out the message that you ain't with it.
Yeah. Jay had an interesting point going back to the previous article. He says, the presidential pardon isn't like a blanket thing. He says, while the person can't be prosecuted by the federal government, they can be held accountable in a civil court, just like OJ. And I didn't know that. That's great to know.
Yes.
So I said, well, Fauci should definitely be civilly sued.
All right, man. So you've given us a little bit more material to talk about when we get to them topics. If we get there, I'm just kind of chugging along trying to get there, man. But thank you. Let's see. Okay. Elon Musk. Now, this is another example of how the Trump administration and people in his cabinet and voters. Y'all, we're gonna go right back into the same thing, man. I'm telling you, they make it so freaking easy for the left to stigmatize the Republican Party with this racist narrative, with the Nazi narrative, the Hitler narrative, all that sort of stuff. It's like, Elon, dude, what the crap are you doing? Why would you do this? Okay, now listen. I'm not at all saying that Elon Musk executed a Hitlerian salute or Nazi salute. I'm just saying what he did was dumb. All right? Okay, the so-called Nazi salute that Elon, and y'all, I also want to bring in, you guys probably, familiar with the band Fishbone. And I've been a big fan. I used to be a big fan of Fishbone, man, going all the way back to It's a Wonderful Life EP, man. It's like early 80s, right? And my band, 20 Pound Sledge, opened up for Fishbone. One of the members of my band, 20 Pound Sledge, at the time was a member of Fishbone. He was with Fishbone for like 10 years. He was the co-lead vocalist and trumpet player. He was with us for a minute. So I don't say this lightly, man, when I talk about Fishbone. Fishbone, they're total race baiters, man. Total. They make the part of their stream of income is promoting is race baiting. They thrive on constantly putting out the slander concerning racism, especially when it comes to Republicans. Republicans are racist. Trump is a racist. Trump is Hitler, and all that sort of stuff. They've been doing this kind of stuff, accusing Republicans of racism and whatnot, like 40 years, man. I call Fishbone out. I don't think they care, but I've called them out on this stuff. And so one of the things that they're putting out there is, they're showing flashes of Elon Musk giving this, gesture, right? And I got to be careful because people are going to say, look at Zoe, he's giving a Nazi salute.
They'll clip it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Okay, it's not. This is not a Nazi salute. This may be like what the so-called neo-Nazi nuts, are doing, who are totally confused about what Nazism is, and totally confused about, and being confused with the right wing. Okay, there's these people are just confused nuts. All right, so they've basically switched up the gesture. If they were real, if they had real fidelity for Nazism, they wouldn't do that. And that brings me to Elon Musk and like Fishbone trying to talk about Elon Musk giving a Nazi salute. Okay, and really quick, another note on Fishbone. Hey, Fishbone, listen. While you're trying to accuse Republicans of being racist, and who want to destroy, these white Republicans that just want to destroy black folks, a hero in the underground rock and roll scene, particularly, those who are doing like black musicians who were doing hard rock music in the 80s. Wasn't a very prominent thing. Remember, y'all, we was talking about this, on the last dose of the Zoloft that we were having. Through rock and roll history, blacks have played a prominent role, in it. Like I said, rock and roll, Little Richard is like known as the godfather of rock and roll. Rock and roll is born out of the blues, man, and the blues was born out of the black. So rock and roll has its roots, with black folks. You know, it's not a thing, you know, that was like, ooh, yeah, look what black folks did. It's like, no, it's just truth. I don't, you know, boast about certain things according to scripture. The only one I boast in is the Lord. Okay, but we set the record straight, and I think, you know, I think people can understand, take a fair assessment of that. That kind of fell out when the 80s came along, right? In like the late 70s, early 80s, it was like the marketing, you know, was geared towards rock and roll was for white people, and R&B and what would become rap music and stuff, that's going to be for black people. So we're going to market it that way, and we're going to divide the culture with this kind of stuff. So in the 80s, it wasn't, you kind of forgot, you know, about these people who were pioneers of rock and roll when rock and roll was being established, and people forgot that, you know, blacks had a lot to do with rock and roll. So it was kind of foreign, you know, and novelty to see bands like Living Colour or Bad Brains. You know, 24/7 Spies came around, you know, doing like hard rock music. You had D.H. Peligro, who was in the Dead Kennedys, who also became, you know, the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, for a minute, you know. So you had, you know, people who were you had black people who were doing, you know, like punk and funk rock and hard rock and stuff like that. I hate it when people like try to pigeonhole you and try to make you rap rock. You know, even like my band, 20 Pound Sledge, was rap rock. It's like, dude, it's not rap rock. You know, I don't really have an issue with it. I have an issue with the content that rap music has been given over, but, you know, it's not like I'm above being called a rap rock band, but that's just not what we were. Like I said, rap music is a lyrical flow that doesn't have to adhere to a key signature. Okay? It's more rhythm and poetry than it is actually singing. Well, 20 Pound Sledge, there's singing, lots of it. All right, so it's not really rap rock. It's funky, you know, and it's hard rock, yes, but not, you know, really rap rock. There's some, you know, there's a little bit in there, but not really a lot. Not as much as there is singing. So all that to say, y'all, coming back to P. Fluid. P. Fluid was the lead vocalist for 24/7 Spies. And you know, in terms of the black rock band circles, you know, they were one of the more prominent. You had 24/7 Spies, Living Colour, and Fishbone. Were pretty much Fishbone being more ska and doing some R&B, doing a little bit of metal and stuff like that, and some hard rock. But you know, those are kind of like your big three, and you know, all of them, you know, friends. You know what I'm saying? All friends. And Fishbone is gonna go off on Republicans, white Republicans. They just want to they're racist and they want to see black folks destroyed. So P. Fluid, their friend and original lead singer of 24/7 Spies, I'm pretty sure he was the original singer of 24/7 Spies, was murdered. And Fishbone is, you know, saying, you know, oh, it's a tragedy that Peter Forrest, man, our brother Peter Forrest, has been brutally murdered. Now, while they're out there talking about how, you know, racist Republicans are, these white Republicans who are gonna, you know, kill, you know, black folks, Peter Fluid was brutally murdered by a black man. They ain't said nothing about that yet. They ain't said nothing, right? Sharif Badin, 29 years old, murdered Peter Fluid. So, I mean, I guess maybe they were hoping when the news came out of who the murderer was, maybe they were hoping that it was going to be some white MAGA hat wearing Republican. That's maybe what they were hoping for. But it wasn't. It's a black guy who killed P. Fluid, right? Peter Fluid sounds dirty. That's probably why he called himself P. Fluid. Because Peter, you know, he was kind of a pervert. He was. So, you know, I like back in the day, man, I loved 24/7 Spies when I really didn't care so much what the lyrical content was, but, you know, a lot of their, you know, their lyrics were X-rated. But the music was just banging though, man. So I love the music. So at any rate, no word, as far as I know, from Fishbone. I think they just want to go ahead and continue with the narrative that Elon Musk and the Trump administration is a bunch of racists.
Wow.
Now, to this so-called Nazi salute that Elon Musk is doing. If Elon Musk is going to be true to is going to be is going to have this Nazi fidelity. Well, one, dude, then you won't mess with the salute. Okay, when you give a salute in pledge to Hitler, man, it's not a two gesture move. It's one. All right, implying the oneness of this ideology. You got to be one with it. You don't cut it up into two parts. It's your hand straight up, fingers together, right? That's how you do it. You don't mess with it, especially when you're gonna make it a law. All right. So under Hitler, man, it's a law. You see him passing by, man, you gotta salute him. And if you're gonna salute him, you do it right. All right. You don't mess with how it's done. Okay. So if Elon Musk is gonna be true to Nazism, then you don't mess with the shape of the salute. You put your hand, if he put his hand to his heart and then raised it up, that's not a Nazi salute. Okay, like I said, and these neo-Nazi confused people, they're messing with it too. All right, so they're already, man, they're just whack jobs. Okay, now, if anything, the thing that Elon Musk might be guilty of when they're trying to say that, Republicans are a bunch of fascists, when that's not true either. The left wing are fascists. They're the ones who are trying to beat everybody over the head with their ideology and force us to conform to their perversion. They're the ones doing that. Okay. Elon Musk giving a salute in that fashion was more popularized with Hollywood. Maybe even loosely like with Mussolini or something like that. But Hollywood are the ones who kind of stylized, especially when it came to them doing period pieces like concerning, like Roman history and stuff like that, where you would see the Romans, put their hand to their chest and extend their hand, right? That was more, but the thing is, as far as I know, in Roman history, there isn't really anything that substantiates that motion. You can see like their reliefs or whatever. You can see their statues of people having their hand outstretched and things like that. But there isn't like so much the recorded motion of how their hand got there. Heck, they could have brought their hand up from the side and put it out there. They could have brought it behind their back and brought it. You don't know. Right? I don't know. I mean, we can kind of speculate, that the shortest distance between 2 points is probably just how they did it from the down position to the up position. Yeah, most likely. Right? But the motion of how it got there is important. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, I don't know, something to the effect of the name David or something like that. When he was, making narratives and stories and stuff like that, concerning like this salute, I think that's kind of like where people maybe have taken like creative license on how it was done, and so you would have, like I said, these Hollywood narratives, and they would have the motion pictures where you see a person portraying a Roman citizen or soldier, whichever, giving this kind of salute, and then you have I think since Elon Musk was giving a public address, he's there as a leader, right? And the pose, if we're going to bring it back to Rome, the pose itself is, I think it's called the adlocutio pose, and it's a pose in Roman culture, ancient Roman culture, where when a person was giving an address, right? Typically, like by a general or an emperor, when he gives this address, the pose, is with his hand outstretched. The hand positioning, is not clear, what it's supposed to be like. See, there I go. They're gonna get a snapshot of that. Say, Zo's a Hitler, he's a Nazi.
Yep.
But at any rate, that was something that the leaders did. So Elon Musk is basically, he's just trying to say, look, man, my heart is like from my heart to you. That's all he's doing, man. He's like, this is my heart, man. This is my heart to you. So that's not a Nazi salute, man. And not only that, like I said, if you're going to stick to the fidelity of Nazism, you have to address who the salute is for, right? You got to either say Sieg Heil or Heil Hitler when you're doing it. All right, for it to be a true Nazi salute. Okay, and it's one motion, not two. All right. So anyway, just but I mean, the left, unfortunately, they want to believe what they want to believe, man, and that's what they're going to stick to. And reasoning with them, I'm glad we can reason together. I hope that what I'm saying is plausible for y'all and not, far-reaching or anything like that. I hope it makes sense. But at the same time, that's why I want to put these things, in creative narratives. That way, like you're trying to reason, you got to hit them with imagination. Yep. So you got to give them something that they can kind of, get caught up in and make the connection, and then you convey the truth to them. Speaking of which, if I can I sure would appreciate some prayers, y'all, because I've come on an idea, right? And hey, in the Zoloft and Zopium Den, our prayers, man, when we be praying for each other, man, so we be seeing people get through, family members getting through surgeries. And the relief and the comfort of the Lord has come on us. Okay, man. Okay, we got through this. Jobs. People like say, hey, man, I'm trying to get this job, and jobs is coming through. You seen with us, like we say, hey, man, we need your prayers. That we'll get the funding to get this equipment. Got the equipment, right? We said, hey, man, we need these prayers. So we're gonna move, and we're gonna move into a facility that we'll have enough room to have our studio in and build our sets and stuff like that. Here we are, right? I got another prayer request for y'all. I'm not gonna say what it is yet. Okay, but I've been thinking about something, man. I said, Lord, what you put in my brain, Lord? This is awesome. It's so simple. And y'all gonna want to be able to take advantage of this, man. You'll be like, oh man, okay, yeah, I want one. I want that, right? So I got a couple of ideas. I think you guys know some of the ideas I talk about. I got a couple of them on that. I'm not gonna say what this one is yet, man. If I get this going, oh man, look out! It's gonna be, man, a financial boost for Bronze Serpent Media, like bang. Right? It's gonna hit like pow. If we were able to get this thing to the market, right? So all that to say, y'all, prayers appreciated. That hopefully I'll have a working prototype by the end of the month. I should, if everything goes good, I think it should work. I was able to make this thing out of cardboard. There's no reason why it can't just, we can get this thing going ahead, just fashioned up, machined right, and it'll come out. And so that's all I'm gonna say about it right now. And your prayers will be greatly appreciated, in Jesus' name, that we get this a working prototype, so I can get out there and start to, see if I can get investment for it and get it manufactured. All right, y'all. Let's see.
Real quick, Jay says, I hear crunching. And I kind of hear it too every once in a while.
Ooh. Okay, let me check something. Let's do the mic check.
At first, I thought it was me opening up the lozenge, but it's not, because I did that a while ago.
How about, let me ask, let me know if you hear something crunchy. Do you hear the crunchiness?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I think I know what it is. And I'm gonna try this to see if that will stabilize it. You might hear a little bit of crunching in the meantime while I'm doing it. Just bear with me. Okay. Hopefully that will, I think my microphone jack, it's like a loose connection, and I'd be wiggling around and stuff like that, and I think it might be messing with it. And so let me know. Let me know if you guys hear any more crunching. I apologize for that, y'all. I hate when I have a bad audio.
Jay is insisting it was my lozenge, but I'm insisting it's not. Because after I had opened my lozenge, a minute after, I could hear every once in a while, like a crunching kind of.
You know what? And I don't, for me, I can't resist crunching down on a lozenge, man. It's like halfway there. I'm like, crunch. But one of the, it's like, you gave me one of them lozenges, man, that have that like liquid center. I felt defiled, man. I didn't know that it had a liquid center in it, And it's like, just the idea of like, sucking on something and all of a sudden it squirts. I was not excited. I felt dirty. I know Yeah.
No, it's kind of funny because a couple of girls at work, I didn't warn them that there's a liquid center, and they said the same thing. They were like mad at me. Like, why didn't you warn me?
This is assault. I did not give you permission. You might as well just roofie me. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, lozenges with a liquid center. I don't like it. You know you like it, Zoe. You're giggling. I see you blushing. No, you don't. Racist. Anyway, so what else we got here? Oh yeah. So anyway, you know, all that to say, y'all, trying to you know, assign this Nazi. But once again, y'all, here's the thing. Republican voters, they need to call Elon out on this sort of stuff, man. Don't just turn a blind eye to it. Just come in and say, hey, Elon, you might want to give some context to that, bro. Just at least say that, man. But see, Republicans ain't gonna do that. And I'm telling you, man, it's gonna lead us back into the same problem because you're giving fodder to the left. You know? Put it out there. Just call them out, man. Just say, look, Elon, you need to explain that gesture that you did there. You know, because that stuff can be problematic for us. We don't need that kind of stigma, man. We don't welcome Nazism in our camp. And we don't want anything that looks like it. All right? We're not saying that that's what you did, but we know that the opposite side is going to say that's what it is and that's what it looks like. And you make it easy enough for them to promote that in the culture. Don't do that. Get in there and give some context for that, for where you were coming from. Serious, man. I mean, why? It's for real. These kind of things Republicans just keep on doing, and they try to act like, you know, it's nothing, it's no big deal. And it's like, dude, that's how the White House got stolen from Trump in the first place. You make it easy for them to make it look like you're the bad guy, and it makes whatever Democrats get away with anything. Because they got the culture focused on you doing racist stuff. All right? It's like, come on, man, learn. So let's see. It's like, but no, Republicans are too busy thinking that it's the Democrats who need to learn. It's like, dude, they're not the only ones who need to learn some things.
Called humility.
Yeah.
Roland says, amen. Finally, Zoe says that he's the only one. Call Elon on it.
Yeah. You know, he ain't gonna listen to me. No, he's not gonna listen. I can barely reach, you know, I'm lucky if I can get 2 digits. If I try to reach somebody on X, you know, he's not gonna listen to me. You know, it's gonna take other folks getting out there and just trying to say, look, man, you know, and I know, I get it. You're gonna have like the diehard, you know, Trump fans. They'll come after you. Unfortunately, you try to put us at, hey, Elon, can you walk that back, dude? You know, can you not do that? You know, what are you? Are you some sort of commie? Are you really a Democrat plant, aren't you? Yeah, why don't you go back to wherever you came from? It's like, yeah, you're gonna get these people huffing and puffing at you rather than, and they're a liability. They're the ones. They're a liability. They're the reason why, you know, those kind of people are the reason why Trump got the White House stolen from him in the first place. Okay, they don't want to listen. You know, but we got to try, man, because these people are making themselves the face of the Republican Party, and it makes it very easy for other people to say, man, Republicans are just a bunch of racists. They're a bunch of, you know, anti-Semite, Nazi, Hitler, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Jay says 4 million people didn't listen to Jeremiah. Yep.
Yeah. I hear you, man. It's like it doesn't make it any better, but at the same time, you know, it is. It's one of those things that, like, it's a relief to know that you're not crazy. You know, and oftentimes I invoke Paul. Paul was saying the same thing. Yeah. It's like, man, these people, the multitudes will listen to these people. You know, multitudes will listen to these people, and you know, but they won't, you know, listen to, you know, the truth. You know, which reminds me, you know, about, you know, what people like will listen to. Once again, it reminds me because today, since it's Martin Luther King's birthday, or, you know, Martin Luther King Day, and this being the inauguration as well, when you have people like, you know, Charlie Kirk, who's trying to make more of a name for himself by stigmatizing Martin Luther King. And look, man, don't get me wrong. The biggest issue that I have with Martin Luther King has been like one of his essays. basically, claiming that Jesus is not God. And I'm not sure where he ended up on that through his life. But that is something that's written. And that would be my biggest contention with him.
Yeah.
In terms of Martin Luther King being a communist sympathizer and a socialist, I haven't really seen much to the contrary. But I don't think there's a consideration of where he was coming from with that in terms of what was denied to the black community by the Democrat Party. Okay, in terms of what was owed to the black community, in terms of the promise. It's like, look, man, there's a promise that is made to all of God's creation that the government is supposed to safeguard. They're supposed to guard this. Well, you hadn't been guarding it for us. You've been depriving us of it. And we want America to hold up to its promise, and what we want is for these things need to be facilitated to us as recompense. Maybe that's where he was coming from it. Now I've read some of these things by Martin Luther King, and I figured he was very naive in terms of these things. Martin Luther King's one of those kind of people who thinks that, hey, well, water is free. Why are we being charged for it? So he thinks that, these things are supposed to be afforded to people, or just, issued, if you will. And it's like, no, Martin, you're being kind of naive as far as that goes. Sure, water is abundant and water itself is free. Water is free, air is free, and all that sort of stuff, yeah. Distributing it is not. Cleaning it is not. All right? Storing it is not. Building dams to have reservoirs and all that sort of, that stuff's not free. Unless you want it done by slave labor, Martin.
Yeah.
So Martin Luther King was kind of naive in that right, and did have some collectivist ideologies. All right. And I guess in a way that kind of fits with his whole equality narrative, because in communism, there's not supposed to be any classes. All right, everybody's made equally crap. it's like you're there's no classes in communism except for you're going to have your oligarchy, and the nobles of your oligarchy, and they're going to ones who get to enjoy living above their laws and stuff like that, while the rest of the wards of the state will just have to enjoy what they're rationed. So not necessarily that if that's your idea of equality, Martin, then that's a bad dream for you to have. Yeah. But as it is, Martin Luther King was instrumental in civil rights being reinstated, for all, and voting rights. That's the thing that we were trying to get back to, that the Democrats had taken away from black folks again. They did it in the 1860s and they did it in the 1960s. They did not want blacks to have rights. So Martin Luther King was battling the same thing with Democrats, that was being done in the 1860s and now in the 1960s. So now the thing is, Martin Luther King, of course, he didn't do that on his own. There was sentiments that were being broken down, back then. Like, say, for instance, this is going along around the time of the war, and when you've got black folks who are being drafted, not just black folks, but people who are not white, being drafted, and sent overseas to to fight, kill, or even to die. And you're in the field with these people. You can be a white person, and this person is you have a black person or an Indian person next to you. You're gonna want them having your back. Period. Yeah. You don't and of course you're gonna have people going in there with racist sentiments and stuff like that. But if you're wounded on the battlefield, man, and you want to get drug out, I don't think you're gonna care too much. As long as they've got that American flag on their uniform, I don't think you're gonna care too much who's gonna drag you off of that field. All right. And it's and to that, if as long as they got an American flag on, it might be a black person wounded on that field, and you might be the most racist person on the planet. Chances are you're gonna be like, what? I gotta go get him. I gotta go get him. And bonds are being and bonds and characters and stuff like that, and things to get over these people who are thrown into this mix, man, not all volunteers, a lot of them drafted, are thrown into this, man, having to work together to survive. You know, being put in a war that, you know, people would either argue just or unjust or whichever, they're there. And they got to see, you know, not just characteristic, but, you know, some valor that they didn't know that they had, and some valor that they didn't expect somebody else to have. And those kind of things, man, they broke down barriers, man. They broke down some prejudices and whatnot. People came back, man, you know, national enemies, what people would call racial enemies. I don't say race, national, right? Who went over their national enemies and came back, you know, blood brothers. You know, those kind of things, you know, helped Martin Luther King promote the narrative. Some people said, look, man, I was out there in the bush with these people, man. And you know what? I can't keep those kind of sentiments anymore. You know, things like that, man. Those things, you know, breaking down barriers, or people, you know, whether it was, it could have been that war, you know, or you know, different deployments and stuff like that. You had Eisenhower, who desegregated the military. I know people credit Truman for that. Truman didn't exactly do it. Truman wrote a letter, right? He signed it, but he didn't execute it. All right, it was basically for public opinion, and you know, to his homies, you know, to his homies in the South, he's just like, look, you know, when I talk about the South, I'm talking about Democrats, Southern Democrats, not the South particularly, but always know that I'm talking about these Democrats who did not want the military desegregated. So he's basically telling them, look, yeah, I signed it for appearances. I ain't really going to do anything about it. I'm not going to enforce it. Eisenhower is the one who enforced it. Republican Eisenhower. Okay, so when you're gonna have black folks going back into military service, and once again, you know, you start to see. I know nowadays, you know, a lot of, you know, white Republicans want to see it as DEI hires, and unfortunately, DEI takes on a lot of forms. But unfortunately, a lot of people, when they think DEI, they think black people, because black people are the ones who are being used to make it, you know, policy in a lot of areas, you know, public and private sector. You know, basically DI, you're gonna have like these, you know, transgender and homosexuals and all that sort of stuff. And it was Democrats used black people to gain sympathy votes to get people in there. Well, if, you know, there was a time when black people couldn't do this, why can't these be? So they use black people to get that happen. It's one of the reasons why people think black people when they think DEI. All right. Well, during the Eisenhower's administration, wasn't no DEI, right? It was people that it's like, look, man, we need these, you know, we need people, you know, we need personnel, and this, you know, segregate our military is just stupid, as it is. You know, people are people, you know, as long as you're not being perverts. We don't want your perversion in our ranks. You know, you bleed red, you know, and you're not trying, and as long as you're not trying to promote some ideology that divides people and all that sort of stuff, yeah, we could use you. So all that to say, Eisenhower is the one who put in, you know, who really desegregated the military, and you know, when you got, you know, Martin Luther King, who was able to do that, and there was a lot of loosening of the jar before he could really open it. But when you have people, you know, these Democrats today, Democrats are the reason, you know, it was Democrats who jailed Martin Luther King. It was Democrats out there who were harassing, you know, all the people who were supporting Martin Luther King and marching with Martin Luther King and stuff like that. It was Democrats were the ones who were doing it. It was a Democrat-run state, Democrat municipality. You know, the mayor was Democrat. All of them, they were all Democrats. Okay, and they were the ones who were harassing Martin Luther King. And but it's funny that you have Democrats today acting like, you know, he's you know, this person, you know, who's worthy of worship. And I guess this is one of the things that really bothers Charlie Kirk, that, you know, Martin Luther King is seen as this guy to worship and all that sort of stuff. And he gets all, you know, snivelly about it. You know, and the Word of God flat out tells us that, yeah, you're going to have people whose ancestors, the people before them, were the ones who persecuted the prophets. Not saying Martin Luther King was a prophet, but I'm just saying that the narrative fits in terms of you had these people who persecuted them, who put them to death. while their children come in and who carry the same ideology as they do will turn around and make nice tombs for them and want to make sure that their tomb and they're memorialized and idolized and all that sort of stuff. It's like the very people that you descended from who carry the same ideology as you, they murdered them. They murdered those prophets while you act like you venerate them. You know? So that's really the issue. That's really the problem. But Charlie Kirk wants to act like that, Martin Luther King is this undeserved figure in history and wants to try to point out all of his flaws because he wants to be seen as the guy who's keeping it real. It's like, dude, no, you're keeping it real dumb. You're a liability to the Republican Party and to the nation. You're a liability doing stuff like that, trying to make a name for yourself because you want to be seen as the guy who's brave enough to do it. I'm brave enough to call out your sacred cow.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, dude, you're trying to make it out to be a big thing. A lot of us already know that. And it's not like that we don't care. It's just, it's the point of, it's like, when to leave well enough alone. We know what to appreciate by Martin Luther King. We know what to appreciate and what not to embrace. It ain't like it's a big secret that he had these leanings and stuff like that. It's like, you know what? Hey, man, that falls really short. Those kind of ideas that he had fall really short compared to what he was able to achieve. Maximizing on the things that were done in the culture and being able to take that and say, man, let's achieve this dream. That's a much bigger thing than this petulant, petty stuff that you're trying to do of trying to call out Martin Luther King for being a philanderer and all that sort of stuff. Oh man, well, there's a lot of people that you should hate.
Yeah, if those are your standards for Martin Luther King, apply them to Trump.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like Trump, Hegseth. You can apply this stuff to a lot of people. You should have no love for King David. Right. You should have no love for King Solomon. You should have but you claim to be a Christian. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, it's like we ignore these things. I'm not saying that at all. But to you, Martin Luther King is unforgivable and not worthy of any sort of respect. But you don't apply those same standards over here. You're a hypocrite and you're a race baiter. You want to be seen as the guy who's brave enough to call out, Martin Luther King. Like I said, we know this stuff about him, man. We know that there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my biggest contention with Martin Luther King, and these are people, is that, hey man, do you recognize that Jesus is God? Now while you're out there parading around making yourself look like you're all accepted because you have this black guy that you have as your puppet going around, say, hey, I'm gay and I'm black. Look at me. I'm a Republican too. It's like that's like your show that you're not a racist or whichever, or that you want this big tent Republicanism, but you're going to judge Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
That's just dumb, man.
Yeah, he parades around that black friend of his while maintaining that it's something within the black DNA that makes them lazy and
it's
inferior in brain power.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, he's like the poster child for carrying on the bell curve or something like that. That's what he wants to do, but he's brave enough to do it, right? I'm so brave. I'm brave because I go on college campuses and I trigger, liberals. Like, dude, we already know that they're nuts. You're not really igniting. It's like you're more wanting a name for yourself or causing them to melt them down rather than raise them up and enlighten them. You argue with them and stuff like that. You get them mad, you get them triggered, and whichever. But it doesn't seem like it's getting much better.
It's not getting better. However, that's how conservatives become famous and make money. Yeah,
it's sensationalism.
Yeah.
It's like if like between whether it's Charlie Kirk or whether it's Michael Knowles or whether it's Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro, all going on these college campuses, they're going to have their lectures and stuff like that. If that stuff was so effective, then why do we have college campuses burning down with people out there waving Palestinian flags? We already know these people are nuts. Okay, you're just trying to expose these people are nuts to make yourselves look good. That's not the answer. That's not what works. Trying to go on these college campuses or getting kicked off or getting banned. Oh, I got banned. Give me 1 million tweets because I went to a college campus and I got banned. So freaking what? All it is just making a name for yourself. You haven't really taught these people anything. Anyway, let's see. What else do we got here? Yeah, no secret here. Joe Biden quietly, we knew this was coming, quietly pardons his entire family. I guess they're into some stuff too. Thanks for confirming that for us, Joe. That's all you did is you confirmed that your whole family is into some shady stuff. Not much to, you guys get it.
Yeah.
Let me see. And of course, Biden pardons Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, J6 committee during his final hours in office. Let's just run it and do that really quick before anybody says anything. We already knew that you were going to do it.
Yeah.
And once again, you're making it to where the thing I want to know is, what are you pardoning them for? It's kind of a rhetorical question.
Yeah, but I kind of want to know too, like, what is the actual thing you're pardoning them for?
Yeah, so this blanket pardon, it's basically like a blank check. I'm pardoning for whatever you, fill in the blank. Whatever you come and you try to charge them with, I've pardoned them for that. Well, one, I guess you know that there's something to charge them for.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously it's a whole bunch of stuff. So it's pretty much an admission. And now here's the thing. And I'm asking for y'all to bring some legal clarity as far as this stuff goes. Help me understand the scope of double jeopardy. Like, say for instance, if you've been convicted of something, you can't, and this is, how does that work? You can't be charged twice for the same crime, right? Basically. But forgive me if I'm getting that wrong. Haven't really looked at even used to, really looked at that in like a long time. But the bottom line is, don't you still have to go to due process for that? If you've gone through due process of it once, you're not going to go through due process of it again. Okay. So the thing is, they haven't gone through he's like, I'm going to give you a pardon for something that you didn't even go through due process for. So you see what I'm saying? So if they have a formal indictment for what it's like, look, man, we've got the evidence to be able to take this to trial. Mm-hmm. You can't just no, you can't take them to trial because I've given them a blanket pardon as far as that goes. Well, you giving them a blanket pardon for something that there was no due process for. They never went to trial for any of this sort of stuff. Yeah. We are initiating a trial for this. How are you going to pardon them for something that they have never gone to trial for? There's you know what I'm saying? So there's no double jeopardy being violated here. Is that fair? I mean, is that kind of like within a is that what's the word I'm looking for? Is that a correct application of this process, y'all? I'm asking. While hopefully some answers are coming in, bringing more sense to it that I'm trying to give.
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I don't understand how you can pardon somebody for no crime.
Yeah.
I do not understand it.
Exactly. Just give a blanket pardon. Whatever they did. I mean, dang, Biden, are you assuming that you're the Redeemer? Are you Jesus? Right. Where you can just go ahead and exonerate people's sins, past, present, and future, man? Yep. It's like, who do you think you, well, I was going to say, who do you think you are? Well, but that's what it sounds like. And you're going to give a blanket pardon for crimes that there was no due process or anything like that. How you going to tell somebody that they can't try something? That you bring a formal indictment? Because it could be anything. You say, well, okay, we got a formal indictment. Nope, you can't. Why not? I have a blanket pardon. Blanket pardon against what? It's a blanket pardon. Whatever you want to try to charge these people with, you can't do it. Man, I guess these people can just go off and do anything.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tom Jensen says the Supreme Court's opinion in Burdick v. United States, 1915, stated that a pardon implies guilt and acceptance of guilt. However, the court also ruled that a witness can refuse to testify even if the president offers a pardon.
Okay, and now that's where Biden, he says that he tried to do the He tried to get all wishy-washy on it and say that just because I'm giving a pardon does not imply guilt.
Correct. He did say that in his pardons.
Come on, man. We knew he would. We knew he would. But when it's the other way around, though, a pardon definitely means, implies that you were guilty.
Yep.
But now that kind of comes to okay, let me read a little bit of this. And I think, Jay, this might also be, I think this might touch on what you were saying. If not, I mean, probably something you were already thinking. A round of last-minute pardons by, this is coming from Trending Politics, headline being legal expert gives Fauci, Cheney bad news after Biden's last-minute pardons. And y'all, I think they've already anticipated this. They are, pretty legally savvy, not in a good way, but I think this is something that they probably already anticipated. A round of last-minute pardons by President Joe Biden meant to thwart reprisals by President-elect Donald Trump is not all good news for the fortunate sons and daughters of his administration. Liz Cheney and Dr. Anthony Fauci are among a limited list of presidential pardon recipients. A gesture aids to Biden says, a gesture aids to Biden, I don't know what that means, says is weird. Maybe I'm just reading it weird. Biden say is to, man, what the crap? To Biden say is meant to blunt any act of vengeance by Trump, or members of his incoming administration. However, legal observers quickly noted that the distinguished designations would not prevent either Trump foe from having to answer questions under oath. Man, this person writes. Maybe they write really well.
They write a little strange, but basically they're going to say if and when the Republican Congress subpoenas Fauci or Liz Cheney or Milley, when they're subpoenaed to come before Congress and answer questions, if they ignore the subpoena, that's a new crime.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
Well, they can't incriminate them. They can't invoke the Fifth Amendment, I think.
Yeah, there was a couple ways that if they ignore Congress or their subpoenas, there was a couple different things where it would be a new crime. Oh, if they perjure themselves, if they lie under oath, a new crime. Yeah. So, and also Jay had mentioned earlier that these people can be civilly sued. So there's no pardon that's going to cover that. So I think we should probably go that route with Fauci.
So now what does this mean? I wonder if they're not so much afraid. The reason why they're not really afraid of this is because we know that there's legions of activist judges out there.
Yes, that's true.
So now, if it's in their area, where if they may be subpoenaed like in their area and stuff like that, they got friends. So
you mean subpoenaed for a civil suit?
Yeah. Well, for when they're brought in for their hearings and stuff like that. Like I said, between the activist judges that they have, and who they're able to, maybe buy off or coerce, they probably I'm pretty sure they're savvy enough with the legalese to know how to circumvent these things. I'm pretty sure they anticipated this stuff. All right. So once again, be on your toes, man. It's like, and be ready for how they will try to use the system, the people that they know in the system, how to manipulate the laws and whatnot to be able to get by on these things. Yeah. They're probably anticipating that stuff. I mean, because you got, like I said, even it's people think that, the Biden administration, were a bunch of idiot failures, right? Even Trump, when he's giving his speech, he's talking about this failed administration, the failures. Dude, they didn't fail. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They succeeded at what they wanted to do. It was designed. All right, make no mistake, y'all. The Biden administration, what the Democrats were doing, they set out to do and did. They got a good chunk of that done. Don't think that they failed. They failed. They weren't going in there in the best interest of America. Failing America wasn't what they were thinking about. Making America fail. All right. That was what they were doing. To undermine America was their plan. All right, so I think it's the wrong language, y'all. It's the wrong language to think that these people failed. No, they succeeded in doing what they were out to do. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to wrap this up, man.
I think Jay was insinuating, and we do have a musical challenge at the end. I think he was insinuating that article may have been written by Grammarly. It's a right-wing news outlet, but yeah, they may have either had AI or Grammarly write the article.
So it's not just me.
Some of the, But I picked that article because it was the best one that explained why this blanket pardon might not be, the best thing.
Okay.
No, it wasn't just you.
All right. So, and the last articles are pretty much about TikTok.
However, nobody seems to know about Red Note.
Yeah, and I guess that's the refuge. The ref of TikTok, and Red Note is just another Chinese app trading one problem for another one, I guess. And so this is another area, I guess, where Trump is going to kind of look like, the good guy in terms of like a lot of people out there who are going to be losing this as a platform. And Trump's like, nah, we'll keep it going. But how about we keep it going in our better interest?
Yeah.
Instead of, just, having it something for the Chinese to capitalize on with us. And so, hopefully that's another, some more yardage for Trump, in infiltrating the culture. That's what you want to try to do, man. You want to make them cultural moves. Let's see. What's the musical challenge? Challenge.
It is, okay, tonight's musical-ish challenge is you have to play Let Me Ride like Dee Dee James. Do you pick Laredos or Tony Lamas?
Let Me Ride like from Parliament Funkadelic? Swing down, sweet cherry, stop and let me ride. That one?
I believe so, because Roland Jones came in and said Zoe should like Bootsy Collins in Parliament.
And I do.
And I do.
And I do, baby. I got the munchies for your love.
Oh my goodness.
My jam.
So do you understand the challenge?
No. Oh, wait, who are the artists?
I do not, so I can't help you here.
Wait, what was the challenge?
Do you pick Laredos or Tony Lamas?
Oh man. Okay. What outfit were they in? Are they solo artists or? Those names don't sound familiar. A lot of times, I may be familiar with bands, but I may not know who all the players are. Are they in bands that I might be familiar with?
Gee, I tried to look up Laredos, but we live in Texas, so I'm just getting a bunch of like taco restaurants and stuff.
Is this another? Might be another song called "Let Me Ride."
He says, "Yep." So
It's
whatever
Parliament
you
Funkadelic.
just said.
But do it in the style of? Is that the question?
Yeah. You have to play "Let Me Ride" like Dee Dee James. Do you pick Laredos or Tony Lamas?
I may have to come back. Maybe don't let me forget what the question is, and maybe when we do the next episode.
I have it copied and pasted.
Okay, and I'll research those artists, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you. Can you
By
bear?
Wednesday?
Yeah, by Wednesday. Can you bear with me on that? Because I'm not sure if I know who they are.
He says, no, Dee Dee James played a guitar with his boots. What? Who is this Dee Dee James?
Wow, now that
That's talented.
yeah, that wow. Dee Dee played the guitar. Okay, so Dee Dee Bootsy. Playing guitar with his boots. That's a whole level of Bootsy right there.
Okay, we're gonna have to look this stuff up.
Yeah, I'll look it up and see how we can pull it off and have an answer for you.
You have perplexed him.
Yes, you have stumped me for this one, and I will try to have a better answer for you next time. And also, and yeah, throw another one at me too. See if you can stump me again. It might not be that hard. All right, y'all. There we go, y'all. That's your dose for the Zoloft. And I don't know, man, considering that TikTok might be going in this new direction, who knows, maybe I'll be seen on there. I don't know if I'll get a TikTok account, but maybe, I don't know, so maybe you can open up one and, you know, put like the 1 minute clips on there. I'm telling you, man, you know, when trying to doing the video publishing, you know, it's like I gotta, all the stuff that I have to, it takes so much time. It's so tedious. It takes a lot of time away from being creative. Even creative, even being promotionally creative, like, you know, doing the 1 minute videos, the YouTube shorts, or even a TikTok video and stuff like that. You know, it's because I got to go through my videos, and I got to find out the best clips to do them, the best 1 minute clips, and you know, like I said, after I'm done doing this video, I got to get ready for like, you know, to put it on. I got to reload it up on my website and do stuff to like put it up on Patreon and all that sort of stuff, and the exports, the uploads, and that stuff takes a lot of time. So it takes away from time, away from, including all the other stuff that I'm trying to do. It takes time away from me, like making those 1 minute videos and TikTok videos, selecting which ones I want to use and whatnot, to be able to put up on TikTok. So, you know, God willing, I'll get, you know, time freed up, you know, to be able to do those kind of things. But as it is right now, it's just trying to, you know, publish the videos and put them out there. It's way too time consuming. All right, y'all. But your support and your prayers are definitely appreciated. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this dose of the Zoloft. BronzeSerpentMedia.com, y'all. Hope you guys come there and become a member if you haven't yet. If you're watching on the YouTubes, like, you know, subscribe, leave a comment, you know, see if you can, you know, get this algorithm off my back.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a groovy rest of your evening, and we will see y'all again soon. Hopefully, we'll see y'all in the Zoloft tomorrow night, and see y'all on Wednesday night too. All right, y'all. Bye.